Hello and welcome to our Christmas workshop, where today I'm going to show you how to make your own little Christmas fairies like this. This one is an ivy Christmas fairy and this one's a holly fairy. There you go. So you should hopefully have got your kits by now that have arrived in the post. So I'm going to go through them and show you how to make one of these. I'm going to show you how to make the ivy fairy first, but it's exactly the same process for the holly fairy. So what you would have hopefully done by now is gone outside and got yourself a couple of ivy leaves like this, and the beautiful shape that they are. And ivy is a fantastic plant. I've got some here, and as you can see, it's got all these berries forming at the moment. They're going green and some have already gone black. And a couple of months ago they would have been the yellow flowers that you might have seen all the bees on. So these are brilliant for wildlife because the flowers obviously feed the bees, and then these berries will feed the birds throughout the winter. And they're full of protein, and actually one name for them is actually called bird chocolate. So ivy's a fantastic plant to grow in your garden. And you'll also need 2 holly leaves, and I'm sure you're all familiar with what holly looks like. Very distinctive, quite spiky, but it is a tree of protection. And if you're lucky, you'll find some with some lovely red berries like mine on. But you want to get 2 holly leaves with as long a stem as possible so that they're easier to attach. So hopefully you've gone out into the garden or the park and got those by now. And you'll also need obviously scissors, glue and some tape. So let's open the bag. Now you'll see, one of the first things you'll see is these 2 cards which tell you lots about the folklore and some of that natural history that I've just told you about. So you can keep those cards, they're for you. And then you'll also find your 2 peg dolls, like this. You see, we've got the faces drawn on for you. So this is the first thing that you need to do. So you've got these 2 pegs, and now you need to get the hair. So inside your kit you'll see there's this lovely ball of sheep's wool. So you want to put it into 2 bits and give it a bit of a roll, a bit of a tease. Yeah, so don't worry about it too much. It looks a bit like a wild hairdo, but you can organise that later. But the first thing you're going to need to do is to glue it in place. So lots of good glue. Here we are again using our non-plastic glue. You put it all over the top of your head. There you go. And then you stick on the hair and give it a good pinch. It's well and truly on. It doesn't matter if it looks a bit wiggy at the moment. So you want to put that aside to dry. And as always, of course, here's one. Here's 2 I made earlier. There you go. So, taking one of your fairies, there she is. First thing you want to do is you want to add her arms. So again, have a look in your bag and you'll find a pink pipe cleaner. You just want to cut this in half, so you've got enough for each fairy. Just fold it in half, cut it there. And then you simply turn her on her back, and then using a very small amount of tape. I always use masking tape. I find it much easier to work with and it degrades more quickly as well, so it's better for the environment. So you just literally want to put 1 centimetre at the most just to secure those arms in place, like that. Okay, don't worry, you're going to cover it all up later. There's her arms. Now you need 2 bits of the white tissue paper, and as you'll see they'll have a cross that's cut in the middle. So this is going to be her skirt. So you basically put the skirt on your fairy just above where the split in the peg happens, and you just squash it round her body like that, and again use a small bit of tape to secure that in place all the way around. There you go, all the way around her back. So now she's beginning to look a bit more like it. So the next thing you want to do is you want to get the green tissue. There you go. So you'll have one long strip of green tissue like that. And again, you cut it in half, one for your other fairy. So now, again, using the glue, you want to start at the front and go all the way up, all over her front like that, and all the way round. Again, it's often easier if you work upside down. Put the glue all around. And then you start to wrap the green around her, and as you do, you start to climb a bit higher once you come around the front the first time, and then add a bit more glue. So you're basically covering up all that along the front there. So you're sort of giving her a nice green sort of corset on the top. There you go. And don't worry, just squish it down with the glue, get it all in place. There, you could probably make a neater job than me of that. Oh, hair's getting a bit wiggy. I might take that bit off. Right, so now let's get your two lovely ivy leaves. And as you see, they've got quite long stalks. Now, if you have any edible glitter at home, you know, for decorating perhaps some of your cakes for Christmas, then by all means you can put a bit on here. We never use glitter in our workshops anymore because it's very bad for nature. But edible glitter is essentially just made of sugar, and that's perfectly all right if you want to add a bit of sparkle to your wings. Now's a good time to put that on. So again, very simply, as before, you just want to attach your wings at the back with a bit of tape, just a tiny bit, like that, and then another bit of tape for the other one. You want to make sure, obviously, that your ivy leaves are facing outwards, like they would do as a pair of wings. Now, if you want to, you can add another bit of green tissue paper at the back there just to cover up the tape. There you go. So she's getting her wings there. And now let's sort that hair out. So, again, in your kit, you'll find a lovely bit of gold thread. In fact, you should find two bits, and there's enough here to really wrap her hair up like that. Do a bit of a bow or whatever you like. There, that's already. See, she's coming together nicely. And then, last but not least, of course, like all good fairies, she'll need a magic wand. So if you look in your kit, you'll find a cocktail stick and a star, two cocktail sticks. So again, obviously leave one for your other fairy, and you literally just put your star on top of your cocktail stick, and then you just want to bend her hand round so she can hold on to it with the pipe. Just bend the top of the pipe cleaner around like that, and there you go. There she is. And the last thing you might find, you think, why have I got these brown pipe cleaners in here? Well, that's because if you want to attach your fairy to your Christmas tree, these are really good pipe cleaners. You just basically wind it round a peg and then wind it round a branch. So they're there basically to secure your fairy onto the tree, if that's indeed where she's going to go. So there you go, there's your lovely ivy fairy. Exactly the same process for the holly fairy. So you could either put these two lovely fairies on your own tree, or maybe you could send one of the fairies to a friend or relative, somebody perhaps that you might not be spending Christmas with this year. So anyway, I really hope you enjoy making both of these lovely fairies and that you have a fantastic Christmas.